Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and yes, I've had a shave, finally. Finally shaved off all that hair that was on my face. But anyway, this isn't about my face. This is about Monday Night Raw. And personally, guys, I'm going to say it was not too bad. It's not like, it wasn't like awful. I think there were kind of a bit more negatives than positives, but we'll just go through the show together and we'll find out. So the show started off at the VIP lounge of MVP. He announced Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, and Rey Mysterio as his guests to the VIP lounge, and was interrupted by Zelina Vega and her little stablemates of Andrade, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. So then it all led to a six-man tag, and Apollo Crews' team would end up getting the victory in that six-man tag, where Apollo Crews would pin the United States champion. Now, honestly, I was actually hoping that was going to happen. That's the thing I was really hoping for in the match. I was like, that's the one thing I really hope to have happen, that they have Apollo pin, Andrade, because I feel like Apollo Crews definitely deserves a push after what he's been going through. But at the same time, I was like, I could definitely see them having Aleister Black do it, because, they've been putting a lot of their eggs in Aleister Black. But what I said came true. Apollo pinned Andrade, and Apollo challenged Andrade later on tonight for the United States Championship. And next we had a triple threat match that never started, with Nia Jax, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler. I mean, you talk about a really bad match. Look no further. You got two of the worst wrestlers in Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler in the ring. Plus, you have one of the best wrestlers in the company, Asuka. You got yourself a recipe of disaster. Now, the matchup never started because Shayna Baszler didn't get into the ring. Now, I kind of think this was pretty dumb, in my opinion, because triple threat matches are no disqualification, and they are allowed to do whatever they want, so you don't have to be in the ring for the match to start. But because Shayna Baszler wasn't in the ring and she pulled Asuka out of the ring, the matchup never started, and that's why they were using ladders, which they would be able to use them anyway because it was no disqualification. But apparently the WWE, the matchup never started. And I didn't know that. I thought the matchup would have began because of what happened with Shayna. And then Nia was in the ring. She had a ladder, but she was about to chuck it on top of Shayna and Asuka. But then she drops it down. And then all of a sudden, her music starts playing. So I was left confused into thinking, what? What happened? Like, Nia didn't pin anyone to win the match. And they said the match never started. And I thought that was stupid. I really thought that was a bit stupid. I guess that was WWE's way to protect all three women from being pinned. Then why did you even bother putting them in this match in the first place if you didn't want to beat any of them? If you didn't want to beat any of them, why did you put them in the match in the first place? Bobby Lashley versus some NXT wrestler. I have no freaking clue who he is. His name's Denzel. I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name, but Bobby Lashley didn't want Lana at ringside, and he said that the reason why he didn't want Lana at ringside is because she's so beautiful, she's a distraction. She's very distracting because of her beautiful looks. Yeah, right, Bobby. We know why you don't want her at ringside, because of what happened at WrestleMania. Oh, by the way, Samoa Joe's now on commentary now, and I would much prefer that than Jerry the King Lawler. So there you go. Samoa Joe's now back on commentary. And Next we had Ruby Riott versus Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan wins again for a second time in a row. Look, I'm happy for Liv. I am happy she is getting a push. I really am. I'm not saying this in a sarcastic fashion. I'm very happy that Liv is finally getting a push. And I'm glad they're creating a new star in Liv Morgan. But Ruby Riott has been out of action for 9 months. And ever since her return, she has not won a single match. Since her return in 2020, since she came back from her injury for 9 months, she's been treated like a joke. She's been treated like a joke. She has not won a single match. She got annihilated in the chamber. She lost to Liv Morgan when Sarah Logan was the referee. And then she's lost back-to-back weeks against Liv Morgan again. So, I really don't want to say this, but Ruby Riott is slowly becoming a jobber. She's going down and down and down the card. You can't get any lower. She is being treated like a joke. She is on the verge, she's dangerously close to being a bum. She's close to that bum level where Lana is. You can't get any lower. Ruby Riott is being treated like crap. And I think it's a disgrace. Ruby Riott is such a fantastic wrestler. And it's a shame they're treating her like this. They're treating her like she never left. That's how they're treating her. She hasn't won a match since she came back. They're treating her as if she never was injured. They treated her as she was never injured and she was always around. And I'm very disappointed. I'm happy that Liv is getting a push, but I really wish Ruby Riott was given a chance as well. So this match kind of made me upset that Liv Morgan, that made me upset that Ruby Riott had to go over, had to put over Liv Morgan, which I'm very sure Ruby Riott has no problem doing. I know Ruby Riott probably has no problems putting over Liv Morgan, but I want to make things very clear. When Liv Morgan gets pushed, I'm probably the only one who's gonna think this. I'm the only one who's thinking this. When Liv Morgan gets her push, everyone is gonna start using the blonde hair excuse on Liv Morgan. Pushed because of her hair. It's used on Mandy Rose. It's used on Charlotte. It's used on every blonde. It's used on every blonde. Lacey Evans even. Every single blonde that gets pushed, that's the main reason why they get pushed, because of their hair. Their beautiful long hair. That's the reason why they get pushed. It's not because of their talent in the ring and how great they are. It's because of their hair. Or in Charlotte's case, her last name and her hair. Which I disagree in both points anyway. But I think that's a bit silly. So I think Liv Morgan's gonna get the same treatment. Pushed because of her blonde hair. Everyone's gonna... Sure, there are a lot of people that love Liv Morgan, but I know there's gonna be people out there that are gonna turn on her when she does slowly get up to the top of the card and nearly competing for the Women's Championship. So I'm probably the only one who thinks this, but whatever. Oh, great. The one person I didn't want to see back in WWE is Jinder Mahal. Shanti! Former WWE Champion Jinder Mahal made his return. And I do not give a shit about the modern day Maharaja. And I would rather hinder Jinder than give him a chance. This guy is awful. This guy sucks. He is not a good wrestler. He is the worst WWE champion in the history of wrestling. Jinder Mahal beats Akira Tozawa. As long as Jinder Mahal competes for the 24/7 championship, I don't mind him being back. Keep him far away from the WWE championship. Far away. So now we had the United States Championship match of Apollo Crews getting his first opportunity at the championship as he took on Andrade. This was a very good match, but in the end Andrade got the win due to Apollo Crews tweaking his knee, and he was rendered unable to compete. And then they announced and WWE.com announced that Apollo Crews is now out of the Money in the Bank due to his injury. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I actually am kind of liking the sympathy they are giving Apollo Crews. I'm actually a big fan of it. I'm actually a big fan of the sympathy they're giving him, because this guy was on top of the world for a few weeks. For the last 3 weeks, this guy was on a roll. And then one thing happens to him, and his entire world comes crashing down. Now that they've taken him out of the Money in the Bank, I swear to God, if I see Brock Lesnar, I swear to freaking Christ, if I see Brock Lesnar, or even Ronda Rousey, come back at Money in the Bank, if either one of those two come back at Money in the Bank and win the briefcase, this entire pay-per-view needs to go. I'm sorry, this pay-per-view needs to go if Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar come back and they snag the briefcase. Because you want to know why? This briefcase is meant to create new stars. It's not supposed to be given to people like Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey who don't deserve it. It should be given to the stars that are in the match. They better come up with a good replacement for Apollo. And if it's Brock Lesnar, I'm done. Because I don't want to see Brock Lesnar come back and steal the briefcase again. We don't need to deal with that disaster like we saw last year, when Ali was robbed of the briefcase. You know what? That's something I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Ali being replaced. I wouldn't mind, because, you know, he reveals himself as the hacker, and then he, hacks his way into the Money in the Bank, and then he becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. Because he could have rewrote the wrong that happened last year. I would not mind at all if Ali was the replacement. But knowing WWE, it will be Brock Lesnar. Because Vince McMahon believes that the Raw ratings are down because we don't have Brock Lesnar. That's bullshit, Vince. That is absolute bullshit. Your ratings have been terrible even when Brock Lesnar was around. So you're basically putting the blame on Drew McIntyre. That's basically what you're doing. You're basically blaming it all on Drew McIntyre. That's the reason why the ratings are down. Brock Lesnar didn't move an inch with those ratings. And even if you made Brock Lesnar the champion, he would never be on the show every week. You just have him sit at home in his farm, just doing nothing. So don't give the Brock Lesnar excuse. You want your ratings to improve, Vince? Make us care. Make us care about the shit we're watching. I don't want to see Eric and Ivar going Viking Raiders while eating chicken in a car. And I don't want to see Bobby Lashley flipping tires. I want to see action. I want to see good wrestling content. I want to watch wrestling I'm not here to see two people in a car singing karaoke and a person flipping a tire like an idiot. Give us wrestling. That's what we want. Your ratings will go up then. Speaking of the Viking Raiders, they challenged the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and it's been confirmed to next week because the Street Profits did accept the challenge. So then we had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander take on an NXT team called Ever Rise. Now, I don't care about this. I personally really didn't care. Ricochet and Cedric got the win, and the main event was Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins' contract signing, and Buddy Murphy came out to assist Seth Rollins. Sure, it was cool to see Buddy Murphy in the main event of Raw, but all he was there to do was basically be sacrificed, because that's what Seth Rollins does. Seth Rollins always sacrifices Buddy Murphy. But hey, everyone thinks Paul Heyman likes him. I guess losing 3 straight matches to Aleister Black. I guess losing 3 straight matches to Aleister Black means Paul Heyman likes him, I guess. That's fair enough. People can believe what they want to believe. But either way, that was pretty much your episode of Raw. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did enjoy this review. Comment your thoughts down below. And I will see you all next time.